welcome to week 2 of the 2024 NFL season. We're so excited. Okay, straight up, really fun week of football in week 1. And week 2 started off with a bang with the Bills and Dolphins. Bills kind of dominated that game, took it 31-10. Unfortunate injury happened in the second half. It happens. Enough people have spoken on it. I don't want to keep doing it. Uh, I'm going to get this thing started off. We're going to cover the NFC West first. First up will be the 49ers playing the Vikings. Sam Darnold looked really good against the Giants. The 49ers looked like they were still the Super Bowl contending team they were last year when they ran right through the Jets. I don't know what to expect in this. Both teams are going through injuries. I think I got to stick with the 49ers even though the Vikings are at home. 49ers are just a really, really good football team. I don't really see how they lose this game. I know Sam Darnold looked really good, but that defense is a whole different animal over there in San Francisco, so I will go with San Francisco with the win. Moving over to the next game, which should be the Patriots and the Seahawks. The Patriots did get a week 1 win against the Bengals, which unfortunately is not much to really write home about because the Bengals don't really ever win on week 1. On the flip side of that, the Seahawks are also 1-0. They've done a phenomenal job. They dominated their team that they had to play, and they got themselves a dub. Bo Nix looked rough against that defense. That defense looked really, really solid. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Seahawks. I think that team is probably going to sneak away with another victory. I don't know how many victories they get, but for now, that team is probably going to start off 2-0. I just don't think the Patriots have enough offense to beat the Seahawks. Now, we got a divisional matchup for the last one, which is the Rams and the Cardinals. I do believe the Cardinals are at home. The Cardinals looked really solid. Unfortunately, they did lose to the Bills, but that was because Josh Allen just decided to prove his inner He-Man and just take over the whole entire game. On the flip side, the Rams really couldn't get a lot going on offense except for Cooper Kupp doing Cooper Kupp things against the Lions. They turned the ball over a few times. And unfortunately, the Lions got the ball in overtime. Montgomery just kind of drove it right down their throat. So they're starting off 0-1 too. I think I want to give the edge to Arizona this week, which I would be surprised about a week ago. But they looked really solid against the Bills. Obviously, Josh Allen kind of exposed the defense just a little bit. But on the flip side of that, I still think the Cardinals look really solid. I think they could walk away with this week 1 win. Week 2 win. But I think the Rams will keep it competitive. This may be a touchdown. This may be a field goal. I think this game's going to be pretty close, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Cardinals to win. I'm going to move over to the NFC South real quick before I forget about them because that division is incredibly forgetful. The Buccaneers play the Lions. This is a Super Bowl caliber matchup, honestly, if they were both in separate conferences, because I really think both of these teams are going to be good. I've said that the whole time. Baker looked incredible week 1. Granted, it was the Commanders, and they're kind of on growing pains, but they still just kind of went off. On the flip side, we just talked about the Lions and what the Lions did. They had some mishaps on the offensive side of the ball themselves. Their defense does look a little bit better. Hopefully it can kind of sustain that attack that Buccaneers showed in week 1. I'm going to stick with the Lions, and that's because they're at home. I think that's just enough edge to give the Lions the win. I think this game is also going to be one of those that you just kind of have to... You don't know. You really don't know because they're both just such good teams. But I'm going to go with the Lions. Again, this one could be a touchdown. This one could be a field goal. I just go ahead and go with the Lions right now. The next game I will talk about, the Los Angeles Chargers are heading to Carolina to take on the Carolina Panthers. Carolina, obviously, really rough week 1. Really, really bad week 1. It was really tough. They sucked. And on the flip side, the Chargers were just kind of methodical. Defense looked all right. Offense looked all right. They walked away with the week 1 win. Panthers obviously walked away with a disappointing loss. I think they're going to look better this week. I really do. I just don't think that they can beat the Chargers at this point. They still have way too much to get it together. Because instead of just rebuilding the offense now, Dave Canales has to figure out how to rebuild the entire team. And that was shown just last week. So, yeah, I don't think this game's going to be that close. I think that they're going to be a little better, though. So I'm going to go with the Chargers. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the Saints playing them boys, them Cowboys. Yeah, Saints obviously were on the flip side of that beating of the Panthers. Uh, I don't know what to make of it because, again, the Panthers are a team with a brand new head coach. And New Orleans kind of had all their people come back. But on the flip side, they're playing the Cowboys, who looked incredibly good against the Browns, who looked incredibly bad. The Browns looked really, really bad. I don't know how to feel about it. I know that they are a pretty solid team on paper. I just don't know what they're going to do because their quarterback seems to be the issue. Their running back situation, we don't know when Nick Chubb's going to be back. But against Dallas, you need all hands on deck. Dallas is a really, really solid team. I'm going to stick with Dallas on this one, obviously. I think they're going to beat the Saints pretty handily. But at the same time, I can see Derek Carr getting a few licks in. I got to stick with the Cowboys, though. They looked way too good for week 1. I believe Falcons and Eagles are Monday night, so we'll get to that one in a little bit. We'll flip over to the NFC North just real fast. And the Colts play the Green Bay Packers. Starting it off, I think the Packers are having some issues with their quarterback. I believe it's going to be Malik Willis. Honestly, he is Malik, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that in there. I don't think he's going to be able to beat the teams that he's going to go up against. So I think this might be a rough start for the Packers unless they go ahead and make a move to go get somebody. And Anthony Richardson looked like an absolute animal last week, as much as I hate to say it. He looked incredibly good. But yeah, no, I don't think this is even going to be that close. I think that the Packers will hold the Colts to a little bit of field goals and maybe keep it close on the defensive side, but I don't know how they're going to do it on the offensive side because Josh Jacobs didn't really seem to get fully into the offense just yet. But hey, who knows? Maybe Malik can impress everybody, do some read option stuff, look pretty. Unless Sean Clifford plays, which is probably the better option. But right now, got to lay the Colts because, unfortunately, they're the better team, and I hate to say it. Now, I believe, Houston is playing Chicago in Sunday Night Football, so we'll get that on to a little bit later. And we'll go to Giants and Commanders, because we already talked about the Cowboys. The Giants, that was not nice. That was not fun to look at. They looked bad. They looked really bad. The Vikings kind of just scorched earth them the whole time. The Commanders on the flip side, they looked like they had a little bit of promise over there. They were able to kind of get the ball moving here and there. And I think that's going to carry them this week because the Giants didn't seem to be able to move the ball down the field. At the same time, I could really see the Giants stealing this one. I really could, because Daniel Jones, who knows, maybe he'll get it together this week. But for now, I'm going to lay Jaden Daniels to get his first ever win. I think Jaden Daniels looked really, really solid his first week. He was probably the only rookie quarterback that looked solid his first week. So I'm going to stick with Jaden Daniels, Commanders for the dub. Moving over to the AFC West, because I will forget about them because they are irrelevant. The Raiders are playing the Ravens. Right now, the reason I say they're irrelevant is because their offense just kind of doesn't seem to mesh. You lost Josh Jacobs. You do have a new running back. He's pretty solid. Gardner Minshew, I don't think he's ever going to be the answer, even though a lot of people thought he might be. I know he's got beautiful facial hair, but that's neither here nor there. The Ravens, you can't really expect them to be on the down for too long. That's not what Lamar does. Lamar does win games that he should win, and he's going to go out there at home and I fully expect him to beat the Raiders, as unfortunate as it is. We'll flip over to Broncos at the Steelers. Russell Wilson gets to play his old team, or so we thought, because he is unfortunately out for this game, so Justin Fields is going to start. Hopefully, Bo Nix kind of just shreds that defense apart, but I really don't have any optimism for that. So I kind of got to lay the Steelers to win this game. They're really dominant on the defensive side of the ball. Their run game seems to be pretty solid. I know Denver's kind of still building on that side as well, on the defensive side. But I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game, but I think the Steelers are probably going to take a couple points off the board on the defensive side, maybe with a pick six, a fumble recovery, kind of torture the new quarterback just a little bit, and they're going to walk away with the win. I got to go with the Steelers. Now, one of the main events will be the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe Burrow going against Patty Mahomes in Kansas City. I mean, I have to go with Kansas City as much as I don't want to, just because the Bengals just don't look good at the beginning of the season ever. They just never do. And for some reason, they'll just come from behind and steal a bunch of wins. And the Chiefs looked really good beating Baltimore. And because I forgot about it, Xavier Worthy did a phenomenal job. Thank you, Buffalo, for giving him them. Yeah, I don't really know how the Bengals beat them at this point. They looked really out of sync. Maybe they do get it together, and it was just a fluke week one. But for now, I'm gonna lay Kansas City at home because that's just kind of what they do at home, as much as we don't like it. And we went all the way over the AFC North, so we're gonna go to the AFC South. The Tennessee Titans will be at home facing the New York Football Jets. And this one's actually a tough one to call because as much as I'm a Titans fan, I'm kind of being realistic here. I'm going to go with the Titans at home, but that is mostly because of how the Jets looked on Monday Night Football. Their rush defense didn't look very good at all, and the Titans' rush offense looked incredible. So kind of if so facto, I'm kind of going with them on this one. I think they're going to be able to plug and play the ball. They're going to be able to run all over that defense unless they kind of get it together. Will obviously had a rough week one. Aaron, I thought, had a pretty rough week one himself. But overall, as much as I think this will be a tough, hard-fought matchup, I am going to lay the Titans, even if it's by 3. And I was wrong, by the way. AFC North, I did not cover all of them because the Browns play the Jaguars. Yeah, Jaguars probably win this one pretty handily. We talked about Deshaun. The Jaguars just took a close loss to the Dolphins, and a Javon Holland fumble is probably all they needed to get the win in that game because they were only down. They only lost by like a field goal. I think the Jaguars are going to be just fine. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team myself. I see a lot of people thinking they're going to be a playoff team. But, yeah, I don't think this is going to be a good game, like, at all, because Deshaun looks really bad. And the Jaguars are healthy. Trevor Lawrence is out to prove a point that why he was the highest paid quarterback until Jordan Love decided to get all the money. And, yeah, let's go with Trevor. T-Law for the dub. And hopefully I'm not forgetting anybody. I don't believe I am, so I'm going to go over to Sunday Night Football. And we are going to see the Houston Texans taking on the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams is going to be heading down to Houston against one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. Caleb didn't look that great. The Titans did everything they could to disrupt him. We don't know if that was the Titans' defense, or if it was rookie jitters, or what it was. But the Texans' defense looked a little rough at times. They looked shaky. It's kind of hard not to go with the Texans right now, though, because they are incredibly red hot. They do have home field advantage, and their offense is very potent. Their offense is very good. Joe Mixon looked incredible. Diggs looked really nice in the new offense. You have Nico Collins, Tank Dell. And yeah, the Bears have all those weapons too with DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, but it looked really tough for them to get them all in sync. So for now, I think the Bears go 1-1 here. I think it's going to be a pretty highly competitive game though. Yeah, you got to lay. Yeah, you definitely got to lay the Texans on this one, in my opinion. And then the last game of the week will be Monday Night Football. The Atlanta Falcons play the Philadelphia Eagles. And while Atlanta looked bad week one, I don't think that stands for too long. I have doubts that they win their division now. I really do. But at the same time, that was week one, and all we do is overreact, so we probably should just kind of calm down on that end. The Eagles looked pretty rough at times, too. They were turning the ball over, and that could even have been the field. That could have been anything. But they did walk away with the week one victory. I think they walk away with a week two victory as well, because the Falcons are going to be heading into Lincoln Financial Field with a quarterback that doesn't exactly perform well in primetime. And hey, maybe primetime Kirk makes a surprise appearance and gets the dub. But for now, I'm going to lay the Eagles. And that is probably going to be it for us today. But I hope to see you all next time. Like, comment, and subscribe.